They call him the richest man on Earth, the genius who conquered space, the man who revolutionized electric cars. But in 2008, Elon Musk was sleeping on friends' couches, borrowing money for rent, and contemplating suicide. This is the story they don't want you to know. The year Elon Musk almost gave up. Let's learn English through the darkest chapter of the world's most powerful man. Welcome back. I'm not here to worship billionaires. I'm here to show you the truth, the real story behind the carefully crafted image. Today, we're learning English through pain, through failure, through the moment when even geniuses break. And trust me, Elon Musk broke completely. Stay until the end because what saved him will shock you. Let me take you back. December 2008. The world was collapsing. The financial crisis was destroying everything. Banks were failing. Companies were dying. People were losing their homes, their jobs, their hope. And Elon Musk? He was losing everything he'd ever built. Picture this. A man sitting in an empty office at 3 a.m. No employees left. The lights are off to save electricity. His phone is ringing non-stop with threats from investors, lawyers, creditors. His marriages are falling apart. His companies are days from bankruptcy. His reputation is being destroyed in every newspaper. And he's sitting there, alone, wondering if jumping would be easier than fighting.
That was Elon's reality. Not the Twitter Elon, not the flamethrower-selling Elon, not the meme-posting Elon. This was broken Elon. Destroyed Elon. The Elon that nobody talks about because it ruins the superhero narrative. Let's go back further. 2002. Elon had just sold PayPal for $180 million. He was 31 years old, set for life. He could have bought an island, retired to a beach, lived like a king forever. Any normal person would have. But Elon wasn't normal. He had this insane vision. He wanted to make humans a multiplanetary species. He wanted to save Earth with electric cars. People thought he was crazy. They were right to think that, because what he was about to do was financial suicide. He took his entire fortune, every dollar, and split it between two impossible companies, SpaceX and Tesla. Not just invested in them, he bet everything. His friends told him he was insane. His family begged him to stop. Business experts wrote articles calling him delusional. A guy who knew nothing about rockets was going to compete with NASA? A guy with no car experience was going to challenge Ford, GM, Toyota? It was laughable, absurd, impossible. But Elon didn't care about opinions. He cared about the mission. So he started. And immediately, everything went wrong. SpaceX's first rocket launch failed, exploded. Millions of dollars turned into smoke and metal shards raining from the sky. The second launch failed, exploded again, more millions gone. The third launch, you guessed it, failed, exploded. 3 rockets, 3 catastrophic failures, $100 million burned, literally burned. Engineers were quitting, investors were running, the media was having a field day. Elon Musk, tech's biggest clown. Elon Musk, how to waste $100 million. Elon Musk, the man who thought he could build rockets. The humiliation was everywhere, public, brutal, relentless. And Tesla? Even worse. The first car, the Roadster, was a disaster. It kept breaking down. Batteries were catching fire. The production cost was 3 times the selling price. Every car they sold lost the money. The company was hemorrhaging cash, bleeding millions every month. Investors were suing, employees were walking out, the board wanted Elon removed. But here's where it gets truly dark. 2008, September. The financial crisis hit like a nuclear bomb. Credit markets froze. Nobody was lending money. Nobody was investing. Companies with way better prospects than Tesla and SpaceX were dying overnight. And Elon? He needed $50 million immediately, or both companies would collapse in weeks. He went to every investor he knew, begged, pleaded, showed them the plans, the vision, the potential. They all said no. Why would anyone invest in failing companies during the worst economic crisis in 80 years? It wasn't personal, it was common sense. Elon Musk's companies were dead. Everyone knew it. It was just a matter of time.
His personal life was imploding simultaneously. His first wife, Justine, their marriage had ended in 2008. Brutal divorce, public and ugly. They'd lost their first child to SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome. Their baby died at 10 weeks old. Can you imagine that pain? Your first child, dead in your arms. That trauma never leaves. It follows you like a shadow. Then he married Tallulah Riley. That relationship was already cracking under the pressure. How do you maintain a marriage when you're working 120 hours a week trying to save 2 dying companies? When you're broke, when you're stressed beyond human limits? You don't. The marriage became another casualty. His brother Kimball watched him deteriorate. He'd come to family dinners silent, hollow-eyed, barely eating. He lost weight. His hair was falling out from stress. He'd shake sometimes, just sit there and shake. PTSD from the constant failure, the constant pressure, the constant feeling of drowning while everyone watches and laughs. Friends said he'd break down crying randomly, in meetings, in the factory, just sudden tears from nowhere because the dam couldn't hold anymore. The human body wasn't designed for this level of stress. The human mind breaks under this pressure, and Elon was breaking. December 23, 2008. This was the end. Both companies had days of cash left. Not weeks, days. Employees weren't getting paid. Suppliers were threatening lawsuits. The 4th SpaceX rocket was ready to launch, but if it failed, that was it. Game over. No more money for a 5th attempt. Tesla couldn't make payroll for January. Bankruptcy papers were being prepared. Elon was staying at a friend's house because he couldn't afford his own place anymore. $180 million. Gone. Every penny invested. Lost. He was borrowing money for basic expenses. The richest man on Earth in 2024 was borrowing money for rent in 2008. Let that sink in. He sat in that house, alone on Christmas Eve, and seriously considered giving up. Not just on the companies, on everything. The thoughts were dark, intrusive, persistent. What's the point? Everyone was right. I failed. I destroyed everything. My money, my marriages, my reputation. Maybe everyone would be better off if I just disappeared. He's admitted this in interviews years later. The suicidal thoughts, the desperation, the feeling that death would be easier than facing another day of failure and humiliation. This is real. This happened to the man who's now worth $250 billion. In his darkest moment, he wanted to die. But something happened. Christmas Day, 2008, his phone rang. An investor. Someone who believed when everyone else abandoned him. They scraped together enough money to keep both companies alive for 1 more month. Just 1 month. It wasn't a solution. It was a stay of execution. But it was enough. January 2009. The 4th SpaceX rocket launched. Elon was there, watching. If this failed, it was over. The rocket lifted off. First stage, successful. Second stage, successful. Orbit, achieved. For the first time, SpaceX successfully put a rocket into orbit. Elon collapsed, just fell to his knees and sobbed. Years of failure, hundreds of millions lost, public humiliation, nearly losing everything, and finally, success. That success saved SpaceX. NASA noticed. They awarded SpaceX a $1.6 billion contract. The company was saved. Overnight, from bankrupt to billion-dollar contracts. Tesla was still dying, though. They needed a miracle. Daimler, the company that makes Mercedes, invested $50 million in May 2009. Why? Because they saw the technology was real. The vision was achievable. Tesla was saved by weeks, not months, weeks. Then something interesting happened. The U.S. government offered Tesla a $465 million loan.
Many people criticized this, called it a bailout, corporate welfare. But here's what they don't tell you. Tesla paid back that loan 9 years early, with interest. The government made money from that deal. GM and Chrysler got actual bailouts and never fully repaid. Tesla did. From 2009 forward, it was still brutal, still hard, still endless work and stress. But the companies survived. They grew. SpaceX started landing rockets. Tesla started selling cars that people actually wanted. The Model S, the Model 3. The narrative changed from Elon the clown to Elon the genius. But here's the truth they don't teach you. The genius was always there. The difference between 2008 Elon and 2024 Elon isn't intelligence, it's timing, it's luck. It's those few people who believed when everyone else walked away. One investor's phone call, one successful rocket launch, one loan. That's the difference between suicide and success. 2010, he married Tallulah Riley, officially. They divorced in 2012, remarried in 2013, divorced again in 2016. Clearly, the man struggles with relationships. Work consumed him, still does. He's had multiple children with multiple women. His relationship with his trans daughter, Vivian, is reportedly non-existent. She legally changed her name to remove his last name. That's not success, that's pain. He dated Amber Heard. That was a disaster. Messy, public, toxic. Then Grimes, the musician, had 2 children together, named one XAEXA12. Broke up, got back together, broke up again. His personal life is chaos, always has been. And his management style? Former employees describe it as brutal. Impossible deadlines, public humiliation for mistakes, sleeping at the factory and expecting everyone else to do the same. He's not a nice boss. He's a demanding, often cruel boss who believes the mission justifies the methods. When he bought Twitter for $44 billion in 2022, he fired 80% of the staff. Thousands of people lost their jobs via email. No meetings, no explanations, just gone. He's done this throughout his career. People are tools to achieve the vision. When they're not useful, they're discarded. His tweets have cost him billions. The SEC fined him for securities fraud. His joke about taking Tesla private at $420 per share cost him his chairman position and $20 million. He calls people pedophiles on Twitter when they disagree with him. He's erratic, impulsive, often wrong. But here's what's undeniable. SpaceX is now worth $180 billion. They've launched more rockets than most countries. They're taking astronauts to the International Space Station. They're building Starship to go to Mars. Tesla is worth over $800 billion. They've sold millions of electric vehicles. They've forced every car company on Earth to make electric cars. Elon's net worth has peaked at over $300 billion, the richest human in recorded history. From sleeping on couches and contemplating suicide to the top of the world. That's not luck. That's refusing to quit when quitting was the only logical option. So what do we learn from this? What's the lesson in Elon's darkest year? First, success and suffering aren't opposites. They're partners. The same year that almost killed Elon created the foundation for everything that came after. Your worst year might be preparing you for your best decade. Second, public perception is garbage. In 2008, Elon was a laughingstock, a failed entrepreneur burning through his PayPal money on impossible dreams. In 2024, he's a visionary genius. Same person, different timing. Don't let other people's opinions define your reality. Third, one decision can change everything. That investor's phone call on Christmas 2008, that one person who believed, that's all it took to prevent bankruptcy and suicide. You're never as far from success as you think. One connection, one break, one yes, everything can change. Fourth, mental health matters more than success. Elon achieved everything he dreamed of and still struggles with depression, relationship dysfunction, and validation addiction through Twitter. Money doesn't heal trauma. Success doesn't fix broken parts. Deal with your pain, or it deals with you. Fifth, the comeback is possible. When you're sleeping on couches, borrowing rent money, facing bankruptcy and public humiliation, it feels permanent. It's not. Elon proved that. You can lose everything and build it back. The question is, will you keep fighting when logic says quit? Maybe you're in your 2008 right now. Maybe you're broke, scared, humiliated, wondering if it's worth continuing. Maybe you're one bad week from losing everything. I can't promise you'll become a billionaire. Most people won't. But I can promise this: the story isn't over. Your darkest chapter isn't your final chapter, unless you stop writing. Elon almost stopped. The world would be different if he had. No SpaceX, no Tesla revolution, no push towards sustainable energy and space exploration. One man's decision to keep fighting despite the pain changed the trajectory of human civilization. Your decision to keep fighting might not change civilization, but it will change your life. And that's enough.
Here's your action step. Write down the worst thing happening in your life right now, the thing that makes you want to quit. Look at it. Really look at it. Then ask yourself, what would I do if quitting wasn't an option? If I had to find a way forward, what would it be? That answer is your next move. If this story affected you, subscribe. We're not teaching English grammar. We're teaching survival. We're teaching resilience. We're teaching the truth behind the success stories. Comment below, what's your 2008? What's the thing that's breaking you right now? Share it. Sometimes just saying it out loud takes away its power. Remember, Elon Musk, the richest man alive, once slept on a couch and borrowed money for food. Your current situation doesn't define your future. Your refusal to quit does. See you in the next lesson.